I was worried that I just wasn't getting something in A Midsummer's Nice Dreams. But then on IMDb, the overall rating is 6.0 out of 10, which is a pretty terrible rating for The Simpsons, even by season 22. This is the 16th episode of the 22nd season. It's directed by Stephen Dean Moore and Mike B. Anderson. And the main reason I didn't care for this is because it focuses on Cheech and Chong. I know nothing about their work. I had to Google who they were. It's not a part of comedy that I ever was aware of, and when I looked into it, it's definitely not my style of comedy anyway. So even if I didn't know who they were, so I had no point of reference. But because of the style of comedy and the things they were making jokes about in the episode, I didn't find it funny because it's not my style of comedy. Part of me wondered, okay, maybe that's not for me and I don't really get the cultural reference because I had no idea who they were. Maybe it's a great episode if you do, but based on the rating on IMDb at least, it doesn't seem to be the case. The subplot I actually really liked. And Marge and Lisa help the crazy cat lady because they realise she's a hoarder. And they help her by decluttering her house, and it's quite nice to dig a little deeper into that character. We don't really get to see her too often for more than like 30 seconds on screen if we're lucky. So to have a decent amount of her I thought was quite nice. And then Marge starts to find the clutter appealing, and she hears the lure of the hoarder and decides to take some of the things. And I won't say exactly how out of hand it gets, or indeed what happens with that narrative, but I thought it was quite interesting. I liked Crazy Cat Lady. I liked the fact she went to see a production of Cats. It was fine. But honestly, I would probably skip this episode. And I am aware that in part that's because I have no idea what's going on like 70% of the time. I don't find it funny and I don't understand a lot of the references. So that to me just meant nothing. And maybe I just feel like it's a really alienating episode of The Simpsons. But at the same time, there might be episodes where a certain famous person is at the center of it and I know who they are, so I like it. I don't know. Maybe, for example, one episode that I do mention with this is the Mary Poppins themed episode. I'm addicted to Mary Poppins, have been since I was a child. So for me, that's amazing. But I guess if you've never seen Mary Poppins or you don't care about Mary Poppins, that episode to you might be quite rubbish. So I do think that this episode will depend on where you're coming from. But for me personally, I thought it was terrible, really, really terrible, and not an episode that I would ever watch again.